my channel. My name is Carmela and today we're going to do the marinated aubergine. Some of the people who watched the previous videos asked me if I could use some Italian in my recipe, so that if you're learning Italian you can actually do a revision on ingredients or products. So we're going to go through the ingredients in Italian. Per questa ricetta abbiamo bisogno di melanzane, origano, pepe, sale, peperoncino, aglio, olio d'oliva extravergine e aceto di vino bianco. Ecco. E come attrezzature abbiamo bisogno ovviamente di un tagliere, un coltello, un pelapatate, in questo caso pelamelanzane, se volete uno schiaccia aglio, oppure potete anche tagliarlo con il coltello, molto fine. Poi abbiamo bisogno di un canovaccio, e questo è per strizzare le melanzane, come vedremo dopo. Abbiamo bisogno di un colino e un contenitore per raccogliere il succo delle melanzane quando sono sotto sale, e poi un piatto per coprire le melanzane e un peso per schiacciarle. The ingredients we need for this recipe are olive oil extra virgin, white wine vinegar, salt and pepper, oregano and chili flakes, garlic, aubergine, garlic crusher, an empty jar and a colander to let the aubergine drain their juice when we put them under the salt, and obviously a tea towel to squeeze the aubergines into two different stages, which we're going to see later. And now we begin. The ingredients are down below, so you don't worry about making any notes. So we will start with obviously washing and peeling the aubergines. We take the top and bottom, and you can either peel them with a peeler or you can do it with a knife. So the way you cut the aubergines are your choice. However, I would suggest to wear some gloves because the skin of the aubergines tints your hands. I can't work with gloves, so I chose not to, because by the time you finish you have purple hands. I prefer to do them into slices first. If you aim for, ½ centimeters each in thickness, so I tend to have it into slices then, 4 to 5 centimeters long. So you have, judge on the length of the aubergines. For example, I do 3 of those, and then you can cut them into strips. I suppose like French fries, and then you put them into the colander as you cut them. For example, I've got layers now of aubergines, and I can start sprinkling some salt. I'll put the quantity down, but I sort of go by eye, so you sort of with a handful or a large pinch like that, and then you sprinkle over it, and then you cut some more aubergines, you put another layer on, and so it goes until you finish all the aubergines. When I was younger in Italy, we used to spend most of the summer preserving all the crops that my father used to grow in his vegetable garden. So when it was the tomatoes time, we used to do all the passata and the jars of tomatoes and preserving those. When it was fruit time, we used to do jam or the pesche sciroppate, which were some nice peaches on the syrup, which we used to put into wine as well. Obviously when it was the peppers, we used to grill them and peel them, either freeze them or put them in the jar on the oil. And when there was the aubergines time, we used to marinate them. And of course, it wasn't like a couple of those which will fill one of those jars. We used to have crates full of aubergines, and it would be the whole day spent just chopping and cutting. So the hands were really getting black. This one is nice because obviously now we've got aubergines all year round, so we can just do a couple of those every weekend when we've got time, and enjoy them in our salads or bruschetta. And now that we cut all the aubergines, we finish with the last layer of salt, and they're all ready now to be pressed. So I'll get a plate, obviously make sure that it fits the bowl, and like that. And I'm going to put a heavy weight. I've got the mortar, so I can put that one. If you don't, you can put a bottle of Coke or a bottle of water, a jug, something. Make sure it's heavy. And then if you have a different arrangement than this, make sure you've got a plate underneath, because there will be some juice obviously released. Then you can leave it at least for a couple of hours. If you're doing this over the weekend, you can leave it overnight. It's perfectly all right. If not, a couple of hours at minimum.
I rimedi della nonna.
If, like me, you can't use the gloves, there is a quick way of preventing the hands from getting too dark. So if you have next to you some lemon and bicarbonate, you can, as soon as you finish your aubergine cutting, you can dip your hands into the bicarbonate and then into the lemon juice and rub it, and it will keep reasonably clean. I wouldn't say 100%, but there's a good result, and then of course you wash them afterward. It's a natural way of doing it. Now that a few hours have passed, we can you can see they've reduced in volume. We can now give it a final squeeze of all the juice. I've drained some of it already. One quick way of doing it is through the kitchen towel. You can squeeze it by hand and place them across into a bowl, but I'll show you how to do it in a quicker way. Now place them into a bowl and soak them into vinegar. Again, you will leave it for a few hours until you re-squeeze them the same way we did it with the kitchen towel, and then they're ready to be put into a jar. So I put the quantity of the vinegar, but depending on the bowl, obviously make sure that they are covered with vinegar. If you see that they start floating, you can use the plate again to press them down. So at the moment they are nicely covered. We leave it and we'll see you in a bit. And now we are at the final stage of the aubergines. So they've been into the vinegar for a few hours. We're going to squeeze them. So we're going to slightly drain them first. This time we have to be a bit more thorough, because the more vinegar we squeeze out, the better. For two reasons: A, because you don't want to taste too much vinegar flavour, and secondly, because the drier they are, the more olive oil they will absorb. Dry enough now, the aubergines, so we can pop them into the bowl. And we're going to add the olive oil, salt, pepper and garlic. Before placing the aubergines in the jar, we need to sterilize the jar, and this allows us to kill the bacteria and therefore preserve our marinated aubergines for months. We can either immerse the jar in a pan of water and boil it for 10 minutes, or place the jar in the oven at 120 degrees for 10 minutes. Remember to leave the jar to cool it a bit before the aubergines in. So we're going to place them into the jar. Make sure you press them well, so there is no much space in between them. So all the aubergines have been placed them in a jar. Make sure you top it up with oil. If you make a good layer on the top, you have to make sure that all the aubergines are always covered with olive oil. However, to start with, obviously don't close the lid yet, leave it to soak, because some of the oil will go into the very few gaps. In a bit you're going to check and retop it with olive oil until you're satisfied that they're well covered. Close with the lid and they're ready. Make sure you leave at least a week before you start eating. A few weeks will be better, because at least all the flavours are blended into the aubergines. I'll put some of the aubergines on the bruschetta, or a slice of bread. If you haven't had the bruschetta before, it's a toasted bread. And you can have this as an antipasto, as the Italians do, or we do it sometimes. And if you enjoyed the video, please remember to share, like and subscribe. I hope to see you in the next video. And buon appetito! Molto buono. Perfetto. Ciao! Ciao a tutti, welcome to colander and a colander to gosh, what do you do with it? And a colander to soak with the marinated with I've got this problem with